Use code AFTV20 for 20% off your order with Fireaway Pizza. Just click the link in the description below or go to fireaway.co.uk now.
Paul from Arsenal tonight. Another game away in Europe, another game in a cup competition that Arsenal have looked so far off the performances they've put up before that. You can go to loads of these. Look at Forest away in the Cup, was it January 2022 or whatever. Really good against City despite losing at home. Really gutsy performance, only to respond with a 1-0 defeat to Forest. Look at that Lens defeat earlier in the season. Look at Villarreal, 3 years ago now. Arsenal just don't seem to crack it, especially in away ties in the Cup. And this isn't the Cup, this is the Champions League. So, maybe you're explaining the rest by saying, well, we've rotated a few players who haven't found rhythm. There's no reason not to find rhythm tonight, other than to maybe give Porto some credit. They really did stick it on us, and in terms of an aggressive press and trying to disrupt us. But I think we handled a lot of that quite well in terms of playing out the back. We were just sloppy in possession once we got to the middle third and the attacking third. No real invention, no real great movement, pretty devoid of ideas. But sloppy is the word. Really, really sloppy. From the Declan Rice early yellow card, maybe a harsh yellow, but I can see why it's given to a degree, to all the misplaced passes, to forcing crosses that weren't on, to, really making a meal out of shots on the edge of the area. There was a lot of stuff that just, set pieces, not a lot of quality. Diego Costa was, picking up a lot of those. There was just a sloppiness from Arsenal today. We looked so far off it. We looked so lethargic, and they're going to need to respond because the Premier League's unforgiving, and we're straight back into that on the weekend on Saturday against Newcastle, and Porto now have something to defend. Sloppy is the word I'd go for. Just breaking down some other elements of the game, talking about Porto, I felt they deployed the dark arts in a way. There was a lot of going down under very little, if not no contact, buying fouls, breaking up the game. And I think that disrupted our rhythm. But I'm not really looking at Porto to be more honest than that. I'm looking at the referee to do a little bit better. But that's not the reason we lost the game. It's just frustrating that we had to deal with that. I just wish Arsenal had taken that a bit more personally. We've all played football, right? You're playing against someone who's kind of blatantly cheating and diving. You want to get stuck into it more, right? You want to just show a little bit more and go I'm not losing to these guys the way they're going on. But Arsenal never really seemed that bothered by the occasion. They never felt like they were particularly hyped for a Champions League knockout game, nor did they look particularly bothered by what Porto were throwing their way either. And that was frustrating. They need Arsenal to show a little more personality in the game at the Emirates, because we're going to need to show it. We're going to need to be gutsy. We're going to need to be on the front foot. We're going to need to really try and blow them away in that first half hour, or it could be a really long, frustrating evening. But of course we'll come to that in 3 weeks' time, and I'm confident Arsenal can do something about it. I do think as well, when I talk about sloppiness, you see that in the way we managed those last 2 minutes. Arsenal didn't really know whether to stick or twist. They didn't know whether to try and just go for it and nick it at the end, or whether they should just keep the 0-0 draw and, take it as a bad day at the office, where we got away with one with Galeno putting it wide. By the way, Saliba should do better with that, and actually just sort of going, all right, we weren't at it, 0-0, let's just try and nick the win at the Emirates, and if we win it by 1, then we're through. But we tried to force it. Declan Rice makes a good tackle on the edge of the area. You get an opportunity for Martinelli, and a lot of people say Martinelli was wrong to try and attempt that pass. It was a bit naive, potentially. I actually don't even mind him attempting it. I think he's a good enough footballer to pull it off, but that's why I'm frustrated. He didn't pull it off. I think that is a decent enough opportunity to just spray a long ball into space for Saka to attack, and if you don't, then at least they pick it up from their defence. But to lose it in the middle of the park, Galeno then gets another opportunity to have a go at goal. It's really disappointing. I sort of feel a bit for Declan Rice, who's just made a big tackle on the edge of the area. He's then got to go again to try and make a tackle, but he doesn't really get close enough. Some say Raya could have done better. I don't know. Maybe I wasn't really looking at Raya for that. I think ultimately giving the ball away is what cost us in that moment. So yeah, sloppiness very much a theme. Porto being aggressive was, certainly stifled us a little bit, but I expected Arsenal to deal with it a little bit better. Am I confident we can turn around? I'm confident we can turn around. This is half time. This 1-0 defeat means absolutely nothing if you go get the job done at the Emirates. And I mean, it means nothing. This isn't like a defeat in the Premier League where that result will sit no matter what, but you've got an opportunity to bounce back. Our bouncing back is make sure this result means nothing. And that's what Arsenal have to do, but Porto will be resilient, they'll be difficult, and we can't just we can't just think, oh, we're playing at the Emirates, well, job done, we'll get a couple goals and it's okay. We didn't have a single shot on target, and Arsenal need to really evaluate why. So I'm saying Arteta could have done better. I don't know, maybe. It was the same 11 that battered West Ham and Burnley away from home, so I can't imagine the instructions would have been drastically different. I just don't think the players were really at it. And that's okay, you can have an off day, but you can't have two, not in the Champions League, because then you're out. And then we're here once again saying, 8 round of 16 Champions League, appearances in a row when you've not got through. And that'd be a real stain on our European record in the club. We've come back with a team that is capable of actually competing, we all feel, in this competition, and tonight we definitely didn't. So that will come, but first and foremost, get 3 more wins in the Premier League, make it 8 in a row. That would be really impressive with Newcastle at home, Sheffield away, and I think Brentford at home. Do that, and then we worry about Porto. Come on, Arsenal. We could turn this around. We really can. It's only half time in the tie. Disappointing night tonight, but it's not over.